Hello everyone, my name is Randall, and in this tutorial we will be creating a machine learning scratch game. In this project you will make a character that reacts to what you say. If you compliment it, it will look happy. If you insult it, it will look sad. So as you can see on your screen, I've got a character here that is asking us to say something. So if I was to write, I think you are beautiful. As you can see, the character smiles and is happy. If I was to run the program again, but this time say, I don't like you very much, as you can see, the character becomes sad. And this is all machine learning. This is a computer that has learned what sentences are compliments and what sentences are insults. And by the end of this tutorial, you will have your very own game. Now to start, what you want to do is you want to open up a web browser. In this tutorial, I am using Google Chrome. Now my recommendation is to use Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. Web browsers such as Safari or Internet Explorer are not as good. Now once you have a web browser up, what you want to do is you want to click on the Omni search bar. There is the bar at the top, this one here, and type in www.machinelearning.co.uk and click enter. Let's do that again. www.machinelearningforkids.co.uk and click enter. Now what you want to do is you want to type in www.machinelearningforkids.co.uk. If you enter it correctly, it should take you to this web page. Now if I go back and show you what would happen if you enter it in the Google search bar instead. So if I was to type in www.machinelearningforkids.co.uk. As you can see, the difference between the two is one takes you to the actual web page, but the other provides you with a search result. Now, as long as you check each one and you find the correct link, machinelearningforkids.co.uk, you'll know that you're in the right website. Now, you can create a login. So you can log in and click sign up, but I advise you to sit with a parent to do this. But for this tutorial, it is not necessary for you to create an account to do what I'm about to show you. All you need to do to start is click get started. And once you click get started, instead of signing up, you can just click on the try it now button. Once you have the same screen as I have, you want to click on add a new project. And we want to give our project a name. Now I'm going to name this project Make Me Happy. Once you've done that, you want to select what this system is going to be recognizing. So click on the arrow here. and you want to select text. We'll keep it the same, keep it on English. Once you've done that, once you've given it a name and you've stated that you're recognizing text, click Create. This should create a project called Make Me Happy, and at the bottom it should say Recognizing Text. The next thing you want to do is you want to click this button or this project that we've just made. Once you've done that, it should display the screen where you've got three options. Train, this is where you collect examples of what you want the computer to recognize. Learn and test, this is after we've given examples and we use those examples to train the computer to recognize text. And 3, make, this is where we use the machine learning model that we've just trained in learn and test to make a game that is able to learn and do things on its own. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to click make. Then you want to click on Scratch 3, so this button right here, and click on Scratch by itself. This will open up a new web page in a new tab. Okay, so we've got the previous tab, we've got the newly opened tab with the Scratch interface. Now the first thing we want to do, once we have this new interface, we want to delete the cat. We won't be using the cat for our game, so we want to delete that. To delete the cat, you want to click the bin icon. Next, we want to create a new sprite or a new character. To do that, we want to hover over this icon here and go up to the paintbrush icon, which looks like this, and click on it. That will take us to this new page where we can actually draw our own character. So what I want you to do is I want you to draw a face with a mouth. So if I was to show you how I would do this, the first thing I would do is click the circle tool, this one here, and I would create, don't forget to change the color first. So I'm going to change the color to black, and then I'm going to create a circle. Now that's actually not what I wanted to happen. So to delete, I'm going to click the backspace button on my keyboard. So as you can see, I've deleted that shape. Now I want to change the color to maybe a skin-like color, like this. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new circle. Okay. Now I'm going to start drawing eyes. So I click off that circle and I create 2 more circles, but smaller. Now we have 2 eyes because we're human beings, so I'm going to copy this and paste it so I can have 2 eyes. To do that, make sure that you're clicked on, select the arrow tool, click on your shape that you want to copy, and click copy. Once you've clicked copy, the paste button will appear, and click paste. And now you've got 2 circles, or to use for your character's eyes. And what you can do is you can change the color of these eyes. So I'm just going to go for something simple. My character is going to have black eyes. Feel free to change the color of your character's eyes to whatever color you wish. Now my character looks a lot like Pac-Man. Now, after you've made your character with no mouth, so make sure you don't have a mouth in your character for now. Over here, you want to right click, and then you should have options appearing, and you want to click duplicate. Now you want to do that 2 times. So that was 1 and then twice. Okay, so now I've got 3 costumes. So I've got costume 1, costume 2, and costume 3, but they all have the same um, character or shape inside them. Next, we want to click each one and label them as I'm about to. The first costume is going to be called Not Sure, like that. So to label them, to change the name of your costume, you click here and change the text. Next, I'm going to go to my second costume, and instead of calling it costume 2, I'm going to call it happy. And I do the same with the third one. I click on the third costume, I go up here and change it to sad. So now I've labeled my 3 costumes: not sure, happy, and sad. Next, for each one, we want to draw the appropriate mouth. So for the not sure, I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm just going to create a line like that. Okay. Now you can make yours as pretty as you want. Take your time, pause this video, and make it as realistic as you want. But for now, for this tutorial, I'm just going to show you the basics. So mine is just going to be a simple line across my character. Next, I'm going to click on the happy costume, and this time I am going to try and give it a mouth. Now I'm going to use the line tool, okay, to do this, so I can actually create a mouth by just using the line tool. Okay, you can use the bucket tool to change the color of your shapes. So if I was to try and find white like this, I change that, maybe not white, maybe something pinkish like its tongue. Still looks a bit weird. I'm going to stick to white in the end. Okay. Oh, this way. There we go. So that is my character in its happy form. I'm going to do the same for sad. As you can see, I'm not that creative at drawing faces, but hopefully yours will be a lot better than mine. So you should by now have 3 characters. One is the not sure face, the other is the happy face, and the third is the sad face. After you've done those 3 costumes, can you see these 3 tabs? You want to click on code. Now that will change your screen, so now you can see these puzzle blocks. And each puzzle block is colored depending on its categories. So all the blocks that are related to motion or movement are all this color and are found in this motion category. So you can either scroll down to look at all the blocks or click each category. Now what we want to do in case our computers freeze up or close down unexpectedly, we want to save our project. To do that, you want to go on File and click on Save to your computer. Now this may automatically save your file in your Downloads folder, as mine did, or it may open up a Windows box such as this. If I was to do it here, it may open up a Windows box like this and then asks you to find a suitable place to save your work. Okay, once you've saved your work, okay, now we're going to start programming our character. The first block that we want to look for is found in events, so follow along with me, and it's the block called when green flag clicked. We just want to drag that towards the right. The next block that we'll be looking for is found in the looks category, and it's the block that says switch costume to, so it's this one here. Now by default mine says switch costume to sad. Yours might be different, but what we want to do is we want to click the arrow pointing down and select not show, and then we want to attach these two blocks together like that. The third block that we're going to be using is found in sensing, and it's the ask what's your name and wait block, this block here, and we want to drag that there. Now currently you don't know what these close, you may not know what these code or these blocks will be doing, but follow along with me and later on I'll explain exactly what each block does. Now I'm going to change the text here to what's your name. So if we were to test this and click the green flag, currently what happens is when we click the green flag, this button here, our character will switch to its not sure costume. So the costume or the face with a line across like this. Next, what it's going to do is going to ask us something. Here we've said to ask what's your name. Now I'm going to change this to say something with an exclamation mark. If I click the green flag again, this time it's changed. Okay. Now even if we were to type an answer down here, hello, our character is not going to do anything. And that is where our next set of blocks comes in. And these blocks are found in events. You want to grab the, oh sorry, I meant controls. And you want to grab the if blank then block, this one here. Now don't mistake this block to the if blank then else block. We don't want this one. To delete a block that you accidentally moved over to the right, to delete it, you can move it back to the left and it'll be gone. So what we want is the if blank then block. Next, we want to go back to sensing and grab the block called answer. Okay, so just drag that over here, don't connect it to the rest just yet. And if we go to operators, which is the green tab here, we want to grab the blank equals 50 on my screen. It might be different in your screen, but we want to grab this equals block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drag the answer into the first blank, which is this one here. Now you will know that the block will stick to the other block if when you're hovering it over, those white lines appear around the circle. So if I were to drop it now, I know that that is tightly fit in there. Now we're going to change the value 50 to a message, and I'm going to say, I think you are lovely. Now don't worry about full stops for now. For this tutorial, if you're following along, just stick with what I've got where it doesn't have a full stop. Now we're gonna actually attach these blocks into this here. So again, if is highlighted white, that means you can let go and it'll be connected perfectly. Now here we're checking if the answer, if whatever the user types in, so if I type in, I think you are cool. So if I was to type in that, whatever the user has typed in, is it the same as I think you are lovely? If it is the same, we want to switch costume to happy. And to do that, we go back to looks and find the switch costume to sad again, so similar to the one at the top that we've used, and this time change that from sad to happy. Now we're going to do the same as we've done here, but for sad. An easy way of doing this is separating all of these blocks, as you can see on the screen, right-clicking and clicking duplicate, and then dragging down. Now if I put this back on, what I'm going to do here is, if the answer that the user typed in is the same as you smell bad, okay, we want to change the costume of our character to sad, because if someone were to say to our character that they smell, then obviously our character is not going to be happy. And to finish, we're just going to attach all of those blocks together like that. Now we can test our program. Currently, when we click the green flag, our character will display the not sure costume. Then, if we were to type in a message such as I think you are lovely, if we were to click enter, if what the user has typed in is exactly as this, with spaces, with lowercase letters, exactly as it appears here, if what they typed in is exactly the same as that, then our character will display a happy costume, or the happy costume that we made. But if we were to click play again, but this time we were to say something that insults our character. So what we've said here is, if they said you smell bad, so if we type in you smell bad, our character should frown, should be sad. Now currently we've programmed our game to only detect two different sentences. That is, whenever the user types in I think you are lovely, our character will be happy. If they typed in you smell bad, they will be sad. But what if we type in a message that is neither of these two? So if I typed in I think you are wonderful, our character doesn't do anything. But this time, if I were to type in something different, maybe I'm going to type in I think, or you don't smell that great. If I was to click that, as you can see, our character is still in the not sure costume. To add those new sentences, so that if our character received those messages, we need to code it. So what we can do is we can duplicate this and increase the list of happy sentences that will make our character smile. So this time I'm just going to change it so that it says, I think you are wonderful. And then this one, I'm going to attach that there. And then this one, I'm going to duplicate and say, I think you don't smell that great. Okay. And if I touch it all, so it's all in one. Now this time, if I was to run our program again and type these new sentences in, let's have a look at what happens. I think you are wonderful. Yay, our character smiles. If I was to type in, I think you don't smell that great, our character frowns, okay? But what if I was to do this? I think you are wonderful. Now, as you can see here, I've typed in or I've spelled wonderful incorrectly on purpose. If I was to click enter, as you can see, our character didn't smile, but it was so close. Why didn't it work? Now, the reason for that is, like I said, whenever we type an answer, it will only switch the costume to happy or sad if we write exactly what we typed in here. Any spelling mistakes will cause the character or the computer to not do anything and just stay in the not sure phase. Okay. Now let's say we wanted to create a program where we want it to be able to check a lot of different sentences, whether they're compliments or whether they're insults. To do that, we would need to keep doing what we did before, where we grab a block. So if I grab this block here, now I'm just going to minimize my screen so I can have more space. So just put that to one side. I'm going to duplicate this, add it to the bottom, and this I'm going to say, I think you are, what should I say? I think you are beautiful. Now if I do the same for the switch costume to sad, duplicate. This time I said, I don't like you. If I were to attach all the blocks, so currently we're checking for 3 sentences, 3 for happy and 3 for sad. If we were to run this now, if I were to write those new sentences, I don't like you, as you can see, our program has grown. It now detects 6 sentences, 3 happy and 3 sad. I think you are beautiful. Now, what if we wanted a program so that whatever the user type, let's say, I think you smell like roses, whatever we type, the computer will learn if it's a happy sentence or a sad sentence. So I think you smell like roses should have made our character smile. Now, if we were to use this method, we would be here forever. We would have to keep programming, changing the code, copy and pasting, and thinking of all of these different variations of sentences that can be called happy or compliments. And the same thing for the insults. Now, if we were doing it that way, that would take us forever to do. And this is where machine learning comes in. Machine learning can save us all of that work by just giving it examples of happy or compliment sentences and examples of sad or insult sentences. And from those examples, the computer can learn what an insult looks like and what a compliment looks like. So even if it's not in the code, I think you smell like roses, it will still know that that is a compliment, a good or happy sentence. Now, we will be looking into that later on, but for now, I think we should save our work. We don't want to lose this, even though it's not a machine learning game just yet, we should still save it. So we're going to go on File, Save to Computer, and again, if it asks you to designate the location for the file to be saved in, do that. But with my computer, it's just saving it straight into my Downloads folder. Okay. So again, to summarize, so far, you've created a character that should react to what people type and programmed it using a simple rules-based approach. That means if they were to say these texts, then they will change to happy. If they were to say these ones, they will change to sad. What we're going to do now is we're going to change our program so that we have that machine learning element to it. Now, after you've saved your game, what you want to do is you want to close this window. Don't worry, because we've saved our game, we can open it up later on. So let's close that window. It will ask you if you want to save your work. It will ask you that the work that you've made here will not be saved and they'll be gone, but that's fine. So you want to click leave. This should take you back to the first window that we had. What we want to do here is we're going to click back to project. Next, we want to click train. And then we want to click this add a new label button or add new label. And we're going to create a label or bucket or container called kind things. Now this bucket is going to have all the sentences with kind things in them. Now we need another bucket or container for mean things. So we're going to click the add new label again, and this time call it mean things. And we want to click add. Now what I want you to do is I want you to spend some time filling up each bucket. I think it's good to have at least 10 kind things and 10 mean things. Now I'm going to do this as well. So if you're running out of ideas on what sentences to write in each one, watch the video as I do it myself. Okay, I'm going to start off with the kind things. So I'm going to write here, you are a lovely person, and I'm going to click add. Again, I'm going to click the add example button and add another kind sentence. I appreciate all of the things you do. Your hair looks great today. You are my best friend. I think you are amazing. That jacket looks great on you. So try and come up with a lot of different kind sentences. So they don't have to be all the same. You could say things like, I like your shoes. Oh, sorry. I like your shoes. I enjoy, so use your adjectives. I enjoy your company. I love you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I need one more kind things. And this time I'm going to write, I love all that you do for me. Now notice here, this item and that item, I appreciate all of the things you do, and I love all that you do for me. They're sort of similar, but yet they're different. So you want to try and come up with sentences like this, where some sentences can be said in a different way. The more examples you have, the better. But the important thing to note is the items or the sentences in this container should be the exact same amount in the other container. So I've got 10 items in this container. I'm going to need 10 items in this container. So I'm going to start filling up my mean things bucket. You smell. I don't like you. You are not that smart. You are silly. You are very mean. You smell very bad. So again, as you can see, I already have you smell, but you smell very bad is a different way of saying that or writing that. And that's something you want to do. I don't find you that helpful. I do not like your jacket. Now, if you're running out of sentences, you might look to your kind things and do the reverse. So you are my best friend. You are not my friend. So currently you want to keep track of how many you've been adding. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So because it's 10 on this side, I only need one more to make this 10 as well. And as you can see at the bottom, it does the counting for you automatically. So the last thing I want to do is I want to say I don't like your shoes. Okay, so now that once you have 10 of each, the next thing you want to do is you want to go back to project by clicking this button. You want to click learn and test here. And it should tell you how many examples you've collected in your containers or your buckets. So we've got 10 examples of kind things and 10 examples of mean things. What you want to do in this page is you just want to click the train new machine learning model button and you want to wait. So currently our computer is being trained using the examples, the 20 examples we've given to know that what a complement looks like and what an insult looks like. Now this may take a minute or two. So while you wait, if you scroll down, you can try out some of these quiz that are available. Let's give this one a go. A machine trained to identify pictures of food or not food gives inconsistent results for sandwiches, often putting them in the not food class. Which of the following could explain that? Um, A, the human who trained the system doesn't like sandwiches and didn't put any in the training data. B, the machine has to be in the right mood for a sandwich, so it changes its mind a lot. And C, sandwiches are not food. The system is right to be unsure. Oh, so we didn't actually get to complete that quiz because our training model is done. When it shows a button called delete this model, don't press it, but that shows that we have successfully trained the computer. Now, if you wanted to find out the answer or do those quiz yourself, you can find them in the main page where you had the tutorial videos and the worksheets. So that is something you can do after this tutorial. Okay. But now that our training is done, we want to click back to project, which is up here. Oh, sorry. If we go back to learn and test, we can actually test our trained program. So we can actually write sentences here, and it will tell us if it thinks it's a kind saying or a mean saying. So if I was to say, I think you are lovely, the computer is saying that they are 96% confident that that is a kind thing. If I was to say, I think, oh, we know that you smell is in our bucket. So if I was to test that, as you can see, the computer has recognized that the sentence you smell is 100% a mean thing. But what if I change this? What if I said, you smell so bad. Now this sentence is not in our examples, but let's see if the computer can guess if it's a kind or mean thing. As you can see, the computer is 95% confident that it's a mean thing. And again, this is not contained in our examples, so it has learned that anything maybe with you smell at the start is a bad thing. But what if I do this? You smell great. What would it do then? Now, as you can see, the computer this time is wrong. It's 77% confident that this is a mean thing. But actually, you smell great is it's a kind thing. So this is wrong. Okay. So computers guess depending on the data that we've given it to train. The more data we provide, so let's say we had 100 different kind things and 100 different mean things, our different sentences, not the exact same sentence, different ways of writing these things and different new ones, our machine learning computer will be a lot more accurate, a lot more confident in its guesses. But currently, because we've given it 10 examples of kind and 10 examples of mean things, it can only do so much. And that is why when we type in you smell great, it's only 70%, 77% confident that it's a mean thing, and it's not even correct. It's a kind thing. Okay. Now that we've finished training and we've tested the machine learning program after we've given it data and we've trained it, we want to go back to make. So you want to click make, go back and click Scratch 3. Okay, you want to click open Scratch 3. And again, that will open up a new tab like that. Now it doesn't save the projects that we create. So this is why we need to save it beforehand. Because if we accidentally click X without saving it, it will lose all of our data. So we want to click File, and we want to click Load from your computer. And again, my programs is saved in Downloads. I want to look for Scratch Project 1 because that was the oldest or the latest file that I was using. If I open that up, as you can see, the code that we had before is here. Okay. Now I'm going to delete a few of these blocks that I had before. I only want one happy and one sad. So I'm going to take those away, and I'm going to delete all this by dragging it to the left. And as you can see now, I've got one happy, and then one sad. Now to make our Scratch program a machine learning program, you want to click this Make Me Happy category. Now this category wasn't there before. It is only here now after we've given the machine data and trained that data. And you should see these blocks here. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to replace I think you are lovely with kind things. Next, we want to replace this sentence, I don't like you, with mean things. And we want to drag the answer out for both of them. And for the first one, we want to recognize text label, and we want to drag it in there. Again, I'll explain what the code is doing afterwards, but for now, follow along with me. We do the same with the sad section. We want to grab the recognize text label, and drag it here. You don't want to use the one that says confidence, you just want the one that says label. And the last thing we want to do is we want to add these answers in the gaps there. So your code should say now, when the green flag is clicked, switch to costume not sure. The character will say something the character will say something and wait, and if whatever the user enters is recognized and is this part is hard to explain, but it's essentially saying that if whatever the user has entered is similar to the examples or sentences in our things bucket, then switch to happy. If whatever the user has entered is similar or exactly the same as the sentences in the mean things container or bucket, then switch the costume to sad. So let's test this out. Let's click play. Let's say I wanted to type something that I know was inside the um, kind things container. I think you are amazing. I believe this one was there. As you can see, our character smiles. Now, if I remember correctly, you smell was definitely in our sad or mean things container. So if I click that, our character should frown or be sad. If we run it again, but this time write a sentence that is not in these containers, let's see what will happen. I think you are the most amazing, wonderful, and lovely person I know. Oh, I spelled wonderful wrong. Okay, now it's correct. Now, wonder what will our character do after I say this to it. As you can see, he's very happy with that sentence. Now, if I was to say, I don't like you very much, I am not your friend, and I never will be your friend. I wonder what will happen. Now, again, this is a very long sentence. In our containers, we didn't write any long sentences like this. So I'm not really sure myself what our character will do, but let's see. But as you can see, the computer has learned that when you say things like I don't like, or I think you are amazing, kind, it's learned that if you say I don't like, it's more likely to be a mean thing and guesses that it's a mean thing. If you say things like I think you are amazing, or use the word amazing or marvelous or all those kind words, the computer has learned that it's more likely to be a kind thing and guesses it correctly. Okay. So hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Try and find out ways to make your game more exciting. A few advice or tips that I have is that what you can do is you can go back. So you can go back to train data and you can provide more examples for each. The key thing is that they should have an equal amount of items in each one. When you change the amount, or when you add more items in these containers, what you need to do then is you need to go back to learn and test and click this train new model again. That will update what items or what examples you've given, and it will train the computer with more examples. Try to come up with lots of different types of examples. For example, make sure that you include some long examples and some very short ones. Now, ideas for extension, what you could do to make, to make your game a full screen after you've done the code and you're happy with it and you want to test, click this button for full screen. Okay. Now, to make your game a lot more exciting, you can try one of these ideas. These ideas are listed in the worksheet for the Make Me Happy worksheet. So if you were to download that from the same web page, okay, you should be able to see these. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them with you. So an idea or an extension could be writing a reply. Instead of just changing the way the character looks, why not change the program so that your character replies instead? So instead of looking sad or happy, maybe it will say, "Oh, thank you for kind things." And if it was a mean thing, we'll say something like, "That was not very nice." So you could try and add those. You can even try different characters. So here we've done a person's face. What if you were to change it to an animal? What if you've got a cat that smiles if you say something nice to it? Or a cat that frowns if you say something that's not nice? You could have a horse or giraffe. You can try and draw your own animals. You can even do different emotions. So currently we had two emotions, or three. We had not sure, we had sad, and we had happy. What if you've got angry? You add something like sleepy. So if you were to write a sentence that's very boring, what if your character shows an emotion that it's bored? Do those different things. So that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed. Look out for tutorial number 2, where we will be creating our very own smart classroom.